Welcome to the Tao of Pizza, where we feature top logistics leaders, entrepreneurs, and supply chain innovators and share their inspiring stories with a holistic twist.
Mark Hiddleson here, host of the Tao of Pizza podcast, where I talk with top industry innovators in the warehousing, logistics, and supply chain business with a holistic twist. Now, before I introduce Nancy Fateen, who's today's guest, this episode is brought to you by Specialized Storage Solutions. I've been in this industry, logistics and storage, for several decades, and we provide industry-leading warehouse storage solutions nationwide. So basically, if you have a warehouse that needs rack, shelving, carts, conveyors, or mezzanines, we specialize in the design, engineering, installation, inspections, and repairs to help our clients optimize their logistics operations. And Nancy, you're not going to believe this, but sometimes people don't even realize we can actually help with permit acquisition services. We take a holistic look at your entire business supply chain ecosystem to develop the resources for continuing improving your operation. To learn more, visit our website at specialracks.com or give us a call at 707-732-3892. And I also give out my personal email for podcast listeners. So email me at markhiddleson@aol.com if you're ready to take your warehouse storage and retrieval systems to the next level. And one more thing before I introduce Nancy, I want to give a shout out to Danielle Neely of KNC Marketing. They specialize in brand development and marketing for industrial, construction, and home service companies. She hosted me recently on her Industry Edge podcast, and you can check that out wherever you listen to your podcasts. Well, today we're joined by Nancy Fateen. Nancy has been part of the Seizmic family for over 26 years, rising through the ranks from front office to customer service, CAD services, permit manager, accounting manager, operations manager, and ultimately to president in 2021. Today, she leads Seizmic's 4 divisions, which work together to provide comprehensive solutions for the material handling industry, from engineering and custom fabrication to permit management and equipment inspections. Seizmic has you covered every step of the way. Nancy, welcome to the Tao of Pizza.
Thanks, Mark. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
I'm honored to be your only guest that's appeared twice on your show so
You
far.
are. I figured that out. And I almost immediately after we did you were one of my first or second interviews. And now I've done like 60, or I quit counting after 60. But my goal is 1,000, and I figured out it's going to take me 20 years. So it's a nice goal. But yeah, welcome. And I've also had Sal, the founder of Seizmic, and your dad, Danny Medina, also from Seizmic, from the
Structural Support Systems Fabrication Division.
Side. And
Michael.
And Sarah. So also Seizmic holds a record for number of I think Sierra Pacific is third. I've had Chris Murphy and Abigail. And
awesome.
But anyways, what were you going to say?
I was going to say Sarah is now our marketing manager. She shifted. We were able to find something that satisfied her creative pursuits and still kept her involved with the business. So that's been lovely. She's been to really see her make it her own, because Sal never really believed in marketing or advertising. He was a phone rings, get lucky kind of guy. And now that I have 75 families relying on me to keep the lights on, I don't rely on luck so much anymore. So I invest a little bit more in marketing and advertising than he did. So luckily, I have a beautiful, artistic, creative sister that has taken the marketing ball and run with it. So anytime you see any of our new posts on LinkedIn or Instagram or anything like that, she's been the one spearheading all of those.
Dynamite. So that was, we had a fun episode, and her creative side really did come out on that. Yeah. So that's awesome.
She was really shying away from the material handling world until we figured out how to meld the two together for her. So
that is perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So you're back and you've got some exciting things going on. So share a little bit about, if somebody hasn't seen the other episode, although they definitely should go check it out. You can see of our first interview. I thought it was pretty good. But share a little bit more about how you got started. I mean, what an amazing journey through the ranks of Seismic.
I started at Seismic when I was 17, many moons ago, and just kind of was here to help wherever I could and to learn and absorb as much as I could. And then I ended up building my education around my career, so I was here and I was like, oh, that class seems like it would help me in what I'm doing. That class seems like it would help me with what I'm doing. Never really thought of the degree or the finish line or anything like that. I was just absorbing. So then before I knew it, I was at the junior college for like 8 years. And they're like, you only have 4 classes before you could have a degree, right? So then I transferred to the university, did my higher level classes there, and graduated with a degree in organizational management with an emphasis in human resources. So it really was never the intention or the goal, but I had become so well rounded, just taking the classes that were of interest to me, from philosophy to religion to fitness and nutrition to communications and sociology and anthropology and engineering and accounting, whatever classes and CAD, whatever I needed to take, I took. And then just kind of ended up covering all of my general eds. And I was able to petition out of a lot of the other classes at the university level because I had taken enough credits in the junior college level to make it work. So that's a life hack for all of you getting ready to enter the college world. Like, my younger son is graduating next month, and so he's pretty much planning to do the same thing, just max out his junior college credits and then pay as little as he can at the university level.
Yeah, I wish somebody would have given me that advice. I did 1 year at junior college, and but I had ants in my pants to get to a 4 year school. It's like I have to get to 4 year school. I have to get to, and the other thing is building your career at the same time, because you get out, you had a 4 year degree. It probably took you a little more than 4 years, but you had X number of years of school, but you also had that many years experience
I
in
mean, let's be
business.
serious. I could have been a doctor by the time how
Yeah,
many years I went to school. But again, and I think the thing is, most people want to get their degree as quickly as possible.
yeah.
Whereas I am a perpetual learner. Like, I'm back in school again now, going for my MBA and supply chain and logistics, just because, not that I need it. I'm already running my company. I already have the skills I need to do my job. But what I realized is a degree in management made me a really good manager. I was a great permit manager. I was a great operations manager. I was a great customer service manager, all of the management positions I've held. But running a company is about so much more than managing. There's a lot of leadership, there's a lot of strategy, there's a lot of big business decisions that affect a lot of people that go into it. And I did not want to feel ill prepared for the major task that I had undertaken in December of 2021. So so yeah, slow going, one class at a time, not trying to overload myself. It's not like I'm sitting around twiddling my thumbs here. I have stuff to do. So one class a quarter, one class a semester is sufficient. Because I was spending a lot of my evenings doing leisure reading, reading a lot of leadership books, reading like Traction and Dare to Lead and all these great books out there that line my shelves and stack up on my nightstand. And so I was like, you know what? I might as well be getting college credit for this.
Yeah.
So just enrolled in classes, and most of the classes I've taken are leadership, organizational behavior, business communications, business strategy. So it's literally the same topics that I was reading for fun at home. So I think it's just helping me bring my best self even more to my employees and to my customers.
Yeah, that is awesome. I didn't even know about that. That is something I could talk for hours about that, because I went back early to get my degree in holistic health education. I wanted to get a graduate degree, and I was going to get an MBA. And I kind of thought the opposite, or kind of the same way. It's like I'm already have the position of job I want, but what am I passionate about learning? What's going to serve my
Yeah.
best life? And I'm kind of ready to go back to school now that my kids are all graduating from college.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, these guys are done. It's time for me to go back. So, what school are you going to for your MBA?
And Claremont Graduate University, they actually had full scholarships for women in supply chain because there are not that many of us. So it's costing me hardly anything to go. So I'm like, it's a win-win-win.
Awesome. Congratulations. That is,
Logistics. And probably by the time I'm 50, But who cares? Again, the goal wasn't to get the degree. The goal is to just have something that urges me in the direction of being better every day.
Yeah, that is so awesome. So it's a segue. I was going to ask you later about that, but let's talk a little bit about being in a male dominated industry. It's funny, it's one of the things I love about our industry, but we're probably 20 years behind the times on it, integrating I don't know, ideas. But what are your thoughts coming from the
I used to be the only woman in the room back in 1998 when I started here, but I'm not anymore. And honestly, I was looking at our org chart the other day, and out of our 75 employees, 40 of them are women. So we are not a male-dominated company in a male-dominated industry anymore. We've got a female welder, we've got female engineers, we've got a female engineering supervisor, most of our permitting department, customer service, our licensing team. We've got a female in our testing lab. We're coming for you. So
awesome and some very
definitely,
talented.
yeah.
Yeah. So Talar, I have to give a shout out to Talar because this is part of, and I wanted to talk about this on the podcast too, because I've evolved to be a better client because my gut reaction would always be, I need to call Nancy for this. I need to call Nancy. And your company's grown, our company's grown. It's the same thing with me. A lot of people want to call me, but it's something Cody's handling or Drake's handling or Nick, somebody else is taking over, but people. So I train myself, and Talar has been awesome. Kristen, Meredith. So we're working with people. And I asked Talar, I said, hey, we want to be the best kind of client. What can we do? Because I gave her a bunch of recommendations how to do better for us. And
Yeah,
I
no,
said,
we
what
love
can
it.
we do? And she
I
goes,
always, I always welcome the feedback, right? I think that that's great. We can't shy away from it. We can't say, "Oh, you're criticizing us. We don't want to work with you anymore." We want to be better. We want to know before you just stop calling us all of a sudden and we have no idea what happened.
so
Yeah.
she was really good. And I said, what's your recommendations for us? And she said, call me, don't call Nancy.
Yeah.
And it's been a couple years. It's great. So
I mean,
and
you
so
can always call me if you need me, but I prefer that you go to my team because that means that I've done a good job. Because my whole goal has been to empower them. I don't want to be the bottleneck, I don't want to be the only one people feel like they can call. Like Seismic is celebrating 40 years this week. This Saturday, we have our 40-year anniversary party. And for so many years, and rightfully so, people associated Seismic with Sal. Call Sal. Call Sal. Sal's the one. You got to talk to Sal. And Seismic and Sal were synonymous. And the danger in that is as Sal gets a little older, maybe doesn't want to be here as often anymore, maybe wants to spend more time on the golf course or at his house in the desert. I don't want people to feel like they don't have a resource here anymore. I don't want them to feel like Seismic is going to retire when Sal does, if Sal does. You know, I want them to know that we're here for them. So I've really spent the last handful of years making sure that people know that I'm that resource for them. And then also that it's not just me, that my team is prepared and empowered to deliver the same service and to be the problem solvers and the creative solution finders for them. It shouldn't just be me either, because I don't want to be here all day, every day. I want
right.
to take vacations. I want to play golf. I want to be able to turn my phone on Do Not Disturb. And I still want my customers to feel taken care of. There's no reason that I should have 75 people here that aren't here to make you feel warm and just as warm and fuzzy as I do.
Yeah. So it's working. So share a little. I wanted to ask you with four divisions, how do you keep the communication flowing? And I can think, probably right now we're doing something with all four. I mean, we're always doing something with engineering, but we've got one or two projects in fab. We've got I don't think we're doing any permit management right now, but we're definitely um inspection. We're getting trained for. So how do you manage the communication between four
So
divisions, 75
currently,
people?
currently my superstar is Michelle Jasper. She's my director of customer experience. That was a new role that we just created last November. And the goal is that it sets her apart. So the customer service division that works under Seismic, it handles all of Seismic engineering projects, right? But Michelle, so the way our org chart works is there's Seismic Inc. is the umbrella, then there's Seismic Engineering, Structural Support Systems, Submittal Services, and S-Mark Inspections, the four subdivisions. So by putting Michelle up at the top of the pyramid in the Seismic Inc. part, it makes her responsible for all customers, the satisfaction and the experience of all customers. Because one of our weaknesses was you call somebody about your fabrication, maybe you're calling to check status and you're talking to Gloria on the phone and you say, hey, can you tell me the status of my fabrication project as well? And she goes, oh no, that's not my department. You have to call Meredith. And then you call and talk to Meredith and you say, hey, I wanted to talk to someone about anchor inspections. Oh, you have to call Kristen. Okay, and now I want to talk to somebody about permitting. Oh no, you have to call Adrian. And you're getting ping-ponged around, and it loses the benefit of us being a one-stop resource, right? Yeah, we put Michelle at that hub to kind of be that point person, right? So you let her know what you need, and she gets all the information, all the statuses from you, and then she can let you know where your projects stand, instead of ping-ponging you around, that our customers can log into and have all of their projects managed in one place and see real-time status on all of their projects in every aspect of them. So she's awesome too. I met her at school, at my college. So she's great. She graduates next month. She's ahead of me. So
Yeah, that's another great thing about school is the networking opportunities, because you that's one of the things. I mean, the podcast, it helps me. I want to be surrounded by people who are creating things or learning, or like you said, you're a lifelong learner. So when you're going to school, you're surrounded by people with the same, hunger, thirst for learning, growing, getting better.
I want to go
So
back. Sorry, before we move on, I wanted to say one more thing because you talked about the male-dominated industry, and I want to talk about
yes,
something important that I learned throughout my years of doing this. I thought, being a woman in a male-dominated industry, that I needed to be masculine, that I needed to be, aggressive and assertive. And it took a long time to realize that the last thing a male-dominated industry needs is more male energy. They needed the feminine energy. They needed the softness. They needed the different approach that a woman can bring to the table. They didn't need more of what they already had. They needed something different. So as soon as I stopped trying to bring the masculine and embrace my feminine side instead of seeing it as a weakness,
right.
kind of where I really started to find my stride as a leader and as making my own name in this industry. So I just wanted to make sure that was something that I wanted to make note of.
That is a great point. And I mean, I think if then the most effective people that I work with have a balance of both.
Right.
Because there are times, and I'm glad it's not one of the reasons I like calling you is that you will step up and send your team an email that says, hey guys, we're the solutions people. So let's start coming up with some solutions. And I love that
By no
energy.
means am I a pushover or anything like that.
Yeah.
Being feminine energy doesn't mean weak. That's where
Yeah.
the misnomer, that's the misconception. Like, just ask my two sons. Like I single mommed them for a long time, and so I was mom and dad. So I had to really walk that line between the feminine and masculine, and the yin and the yang, and all of that to bring that balance of energy. And I kind of have to do the same here. Like I have to be able to be empathetic and appreciative and expressive with my people, because that's something that honestly they never had. Sal's done a lot of things very well, but bringing femininity to the table is not his strong suit. So that's where I come in. I can be the best of both worlds. I can have his strength and assertiveness, but I can also have a little bit of softness to me. And kind of embracing and cultivating that softness has been a major theme in my last handful of years, both at work and personally. Not like straying a little bit away from the so intense, like the strict weightlifting, and making sure to balance it out with some yoga and some walking and some dancing and like all of these things. Like there can be a little bit of both. That you need to have both. You need to be in balance, because you could find yourself off balance and at any given time, and you need to figure out what you need to do to center yourself back to that.
So yeah, what you're saying is you can even get off balance in your balance.
Yeah.
You're like, I need to train so hard in 90 minutes a day.
Totally. And
Yeah,
I was in
this
that headspace for a while, and it drove me forward. It does really, like, you can feel the difference in you, right? Like you feel the testosterone and the adrenaline and all these things. And then when you go, okay, now what does my body need? And you have to start listening to it, and you go, okay, right, this week, all I want to do is yoga. And then my body goes, you know what? I can really throw some heavy stuff around. So then you go back to the gym and you do that. And it's listening to your body and figuring out what your nervous system needs, what's going to bring you the most peace and joy. Because it's supposed to be like these are leisure activities, but they're also things that you're doing for your best self, right? Like things to make you happy. And I have such limited free time that I want to really be mindful of what I'm doing. If the end of the day, the afternoon comes around, I don't feel like going to lift weights, and my body's telling me, no, I'm going to go take a 45-minute walk outside instead. Sounds good. I'll do that. you know?
Yeah, this is the first time in my life where I've taken a month off of lifting. Like I'll usually take a week off, once in a while just because your body needs it. But I've taken a month off, and then I start to miss it. And then your body starts to change, right? You're like, I'm not as strong as I was, because usually after 2 weeks you do start losing. But now I'm 55. And when you were talking about Seizmic's 40-year, I looked at today's date. This is exactly 20 years ago today that we started our company.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. It's we're halfway. I'm halfway. I'm 20 years into a 40-year goal.
Yeah, very cool.
Wow. And you guys have solid 40 years, and you've been there 26. So
yeah.
Our careers have kind of paralleled in a way. You had a much
we've grown up together.
We have grown up together, and our friendship's always meant a lot to me too. But I love the way you approach. We have a lot of things in common. We want to have balanced lives. Our family is more important than business, even though we're super motivated in the business space. And then relationships are always the most important thing, no matter what, right? We're doing projects. There's always stress involved and things like that. But the relationship is, we both kind of hold the relationship as the highest priority.
Totally.
So share a little bit about, you've done some presentations on the national level. What are some of the changes that are coming to our industry that you think we should be aware of, we should be telling our customers about? And then
so in my ever quest for all this knowledge, I sit on the RMI Education Committee, which is the Rack Manufacturers Institute. I've been invited to sit on the MHI Roundtable, which is the material handling industries, like table of thought leaders that kind of go in with the industry issues and things that they're encountering, and how to bring programming to the MHI industry that will actually matter to the people that are in it. I'm also involved with the Mahaffey Educational Foundation, the Material Handling Education Foundation, which promotes bringing more students into our industry. And what I've been seeing consistently throughout those, and probably when I head to spring meeting in a couple of weeks in Texas, we'll talk about it even more. But rack safety is huge right now. It's a thing that has never really been strongly regulated. But now, if you look at OSHA 1910, if you look at the National Insurance Commission guidelines, if you look at all of the jurisdictions that are going to be hungry for a little extra money here and there, and they're going to be sending the fire inspectors out to come in for their random inspection, and they want to see what you've got going on in your warehouse. And they want to know that you have been a proactive, responsible building owner. Are your aisles clear? Are your racks overloaded? Do you have engineering for your racks? Do you have permits for your racks? Do you have someone in your warehouse that knows how to properly walk around and assess these racks for damage? Are you checking to make sure that your anchor bolts haven't loosened over time? Are your forklift drivers certified? These are things that not only, if you have all of these things, can get you discounts on your insurance every year when your renewal time comes around. You show that you're a proactive, responsible owner, but also not having them can severely ding you if there ever is an incident. Because they look at it, let's say the rack collapses, heaven forbid, and they go, oh, well, did you ever have anyone come out and do any annual safety inspections? No. Did you ever have engineering done on these racks? No. So I'm taking it you didn't pull any permits. No. Okay, sorry, you're not covered.
Yeah.
There are things that we're supposed to do to be proactive in this, right? This is a huge investment. Like a rack falling down can injure workers, which huge lawsuits. We've seen it put people out of business. It can halt your operations, which damages your business reputation, can damage your building if it hits a building column, and now all of a sudden this building that you've invested so much time and energy in, you can't use it. Like there's so many things that could go wrong that it's just better to be as proactive as possible and take care of your investment. same way you would with your car. You take your car in for an oil change, you take it in for a tire rotation to check your fluids, your brakes, all of that stuff. You don't wait until the engine light comes on, or worse yet, you don't wait till the engine starts smoking and then find out it's a $20,000 fix or that it's done for, right? You be ahead of the game. You go to the doctor for checkups. You don't just go, hopefully, you go to the doctor for checkups and not just when your liver's exploding.
Also, I need to make an appointment for the doctor too. Nancy says
Yeah.
go.
It costs a lot less when you go in for the wellness checks than it does when you go in for a major issue that they say, hey, yeah, had you come in 5 years ago, well, you would have been okay. But now we've got major issues.
Yeah.
Same with your warehouse.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that metaphor. And it's something that we're seeing more of. I mean, we probably have, we have 1,000 clients, probably 3 of them we've helped get a racking standard operations because they asked for it. And it was either one client, it was because they had an accident happen somewhere else, but they went through the whole company. So my client, he came to me and he said, what can you do? And I said, well, we'll go in and we'll do quarterly inspections, but we should also train your team because they had a warehouse that probably had 180 employees. So it was like, you need your top 6 team captains or shift leaders to walk the floor every night. I mean, I had a laundry list of things to do, but from what I'm seeing from the laws and what when I did research, it's probably been 5 or 6 years, but it looked like Europe had better standards because when I researched it online, I saw Europe had a system like, let me ask you this question. What do you do if, say you get a job and you go into a warehouse, they have existing systems. It looks pretty good, but you don't know if there's any engineering or documentation or anything. I mean, it looks like it was permitted. What would your first steps be? I mean, other than call Mark Hiddleson?
No, the customers ask you to be in there for that because we have some challenges where like we get called in to do anchor inspections. So customers are installing their racks and they're doing the right thing by having us out there installing the anchors, but their racks are clearly used and clearly not in great condition. But they didn't call us out there to be the rack inspectors. They called us out there to be the anchor inspectors. So we're trying to stay in our lane, but also we want to make sure we're advising them, hey, I wouldn't recommend putting anything on these racks until you have them looked at by an engineer or someone qualified, because they don't look safe to me. They don't look like they're going to get you your maximum capacity. So I don't know if whoever you had do the engineering was aware that you were using used components, but it makes a difference. If they're used and damaged and you're reusing them somewhere else, maybe they took them down from another facility and they're putting them up in this one, but all you can do is tell them, right? I was at a customer's, not even a customer. I'm in Vistage. You know what Vistage is?
Yeah.
It's like, so
I know what it is, but tell us more about Vistage, but tell the story first.
Again, it's another one of those leadership things that I just love to go and I'll come back to that. But so we're touring one of our members' facilities, and all I can look at, of course, is the racks because that's where my brain goes. So I'm looking like, oh my god, and I'm like, sorry to feel really unsafe walking through this warehouse. They have put up column protectors, but on top of the damage. So it's like they noticed that it was a high traffic column, and then they put a column protector on it, but they never fixed the column underneath first. So they didn't actually reinforce anything with the damage. So now they've got all these heavy loaded, like I'm talking about bins of ink and oils that are sitting on these things, like heavy liquid, where if there's an earthquake, now you've got motion involved with it too. And so this thing is going to be very unstable. So I said, hey, I know that it's not my place, but I have a junior inspector that I'd like to have come out and train and for free do an inspection at your facility. Just for free, because I saw a lot of questionable things here. You don't have to worry about anything. He's not going to publish anything. He's not going to call you out to the cities, anything like that. This is for your safety and the safety of your employees and your operations, and also good training for him. So I'm going to have him go out there and inspect for you and document everything and let you know what are the red flags, the yellow flags, and the green flags, like what's okay, mild damage, no problem, what's moderate damage that you should keep an eye on, and what's severe damage that needs to be repaired right away. So we did that for him. And then he came back and said, okay, here, can you guys fix the severe damage for us? And so we were able to capitalize on it. It wasn't really the intention. I don't care if he goes to you or Space Guard or whoever direct to do his rack repair, as long as he does not have any people working in that warehouse any longer without fixing it, So that's really how we tackled it, is especially because I know that you have a couple of people that are going to be going through our RacksWise inspector training program as well. So same thing. If you have them going out there and be like, I'm just going to jot down a quick couple of notes here and I'm going to give this report to you, no charge. If you want to do anything about it, these are my recommendations. And I'll be happy to help facilitate any of that for you. That's what I would recommend. And then also you could recommend that. So we have two programs, the Racks Wise, which is for professionals like you, and then the Racks Safe, which is more for the warehouse manager level, like the safety managers at your warehouse. If you want them to know what they're looking for, how do they know if it's damaged or not? How do they know that they're supposed to tighten the anchors every 3 months or be looking for bent beams, or whether chipped paint is considered damage or it needs to actually be a dinged crossbar or something like that, or locking pin, making sure the locking pins are in place. Like we give them a checklist and we tell them, ideally, you go through this once a month. And then at month 12, you call a professional in, you call Mark Hiddleson in or someone from his team to come in and do an annual inspection. And since they're certified Racks Wise inspectors, then they'll give you a certificate saying you've passed your 2025 inspection, your racks are in good condition, or we've done what we need to do to get your racks in good condition. Now they have a certificate they can hang on their warehouse wall and hand over to their insurance company.
Yeah, I think, and that's the government is getting more aggressive. So has OSHA changed in the last 5 years on what they require for racking? Is there
Yeah,
more?
from a life safety standpoint, for sure. I mean, they're not very specific about it. It's life safety in general, keeping your aisles clear, not blocking any doors, not overloading your racks, making sure that you have engineering done. But they have gotten, those are all still things that have always been in there. But now the compliance, now they're actually checking on this stuff. Because again, it's money. And there have been way too many lives lost, and too many damages had to be paid out by insurance companies for them to just ignore it anymore, you know?
Yeah, and one of the problems with rack is it's so strong. I think people, like a lot of people, get callous if you've seen damaged racks in the warehouse. Like they hardly ever fall down. You ever wonder? I'd go in the warehouse and it was like, guys, this is unsafe. It's not good. And like, oh, it's been like that for 10 years. So they are strong, but we're going to be more aggressive about.
If you if you Google storage rack collapse and go to the videos, there's one, I don't want to get to it in the middle of our call, but it's called Warehouse Racking Collapses on YouTube. It's a compilation. And it was on April 4th, 2021. And it is bizarre. Like it's so bananas. Like these are forklift drivers falling asleep at the wheel. These are guys texting and going, and like they just hit a column. And you know that rack is not going to fall down at the first hit.
Right.
You know that that column's been hit multiple times, or the racks are overloaded because nobody ever told them about proper loading and overloading. No, they don't have load signs up. Maybe they bought the warehouse with the rack already in it and they never asked, what can I put on it? They just assumed they could put their weight on it. They said it looks fine. But overloaded racks are the number one culprit and forklift impact. You know, so it is something that happens. Luckily, not that often because a lot of people do engineer and permit their racks. But you and I have both been in warehouses where you can tell that this is an accident waiting to happen. And the last thing you want is for that accident to happen to one of your customers, you know, or somebody that you know that you could have said something and you didn't say something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so the you're rolling out of those safety certification programs is ideal. And I mean, with my experience, I mean, I've done a lot of these, and I got a PowerPoint presentation that I've showed my clients. And we have, like I said, we've been reactive. Like you said, it's not. It kind of is. It's our place to go out and go, this is a problem. Like if I see something in a warehouse, I will tell somebody that needs to be unloaded. I'll be like, stop, go get your boss. Like I want to make this sale, but like, do not. Like somebody
Yeah.
is going to get hurt, and it's fairly common, to if you walk into a big warehouse, you're probably going to find something if you're looking for it.
For sure. And also I don't want to put my name on something that I know is not right, you know?
So what we're doing, and I'm starting to do more of this, and I'm just even recommending clients, if they have a warehouse and they don't know, well, just get the engineering. Even if it looks like it's permitted, or you think it was permitted, or you got in a building, just get the engineering, because there can be a huge difference. In Napa, we're really close to a fault line. There can be a difference in the capacity if you're 5 miles down the road motors.
Totally.
A rack that holds 3,500 pounds of level could be 2,500 or 1,500 pounds of level. down the street.
Yeah. And again, you have earthquake insurance. And so when something happens and you think you're covered, and then when they come in through their detailed investigation, they go, oh, you never had permits for these racks? Check. All right, sorry, no payout for you.
Yeah,
Like these are the tragedies that we hope never happen. But as we saw with all the fires in Southern California recently, like you always have to be prepared for the worst. Like things happen.
it
A
does.
fire in your warehouse, an earthquake, a rack collapse. Like they're all so many things that could go wrong. And these people have invested so much money and time and energy in these businesses, in these warehouses. Like this is their livelihood, and probably not just them. Like how I feel a responsibility to my 75 employees, I'm sure that people feel the same to some degree to their employees as well, and to their customers. Like you spend your life making a brand, making a business, investing every penny you have into it, and you don't want to spend the extra $5,000 to get your engineering and permits, you know,
Yeah,
or at least your engineering.
the
Like I
engineering.
don't
That's what I'm
don't tell
telling
don't
people.
tell anybody that I said this, but if you don't get a permit, fine, but at least you had an engineer say it's okay. Because then you can always get a permit later. And at least then when the fire department comes in and goes, do you have a permit for this? You can go, nope, but I've got my engineering. And then you can take that to the city and submit it.
Yeah, yeah, we do a lot of engineering for customers in-house. If I find they've inherited a system of, it's like, look, you at least want it, because even I don't know what it is. You don't know until we send it to you guys. I mean, I can give you a
But we
ballpark
can teach
idea.
you guys how to do that too. That's part of the inspector training program, is also being able to identify existing systems, so that we can reverse engineer it.
And
So
we do a lot of
and
that.
that's again, that's for the professionals, not so much for the end users. The warehouse safety managers is much more site specific. Like we'd actually go to their site and walk them through their specific warehouse to show them what to do. But for you guys, teaching you how to document damage so that we as the engineers can say, yes, that should be replaced. This can be repaired. This should be unloaded right away. This you can keep an eye on, whatever the appropriate fixes are. That way you and your customer and us, we can all have peace of mind. You can have an engineer stamped letter or report that says, yes, we saw that damage. It's as of this date in this condition with this picture, it's okay. Now you come back and do your inspection 6 months later and it's worse, or Joe goes and does his walkthrough of the warehouse a month later and it's worse. He needs to take a picture and go, hey, Mark, I know you were just out here and you said this was okay last month, but I just looked at it again compared to last month's picture. It looks a little worse to me. What do you think? And you go, hold on, let me send it to Nancy and have her take a look at it. And then we go, yep, you're right. That should be replaced or repaired.
Yeah. And they are, like you said, some if it's been hit once, it might survive. If you hit it again, like the third time could be the
And
one.
if you're hitting it over and over again and it's overloaded, like now you've got dominoes. It's not just going to take down one bay, it's going to take down row after row after row.
And we're gonna post that video on the show notes. I
Oh,
will
the
find
warehouse.
the one that's a
Yeah,
compilation.
I'll
I'll
send
make
it
sure
to you.
it's the right one so
Yeah,
people will be able to watch it with the
I'll send it to you. It's crazy. And forklift drivers, I mean, they're typically, what did the statistics said, the average lift driver has been working for 5 months. Like that's their average range. So, and they're typically fairly low paid employees, hardly ever certified, not trained on proper loading and unloading techniques, not trained on proper forklift safety, not realizing that they're driving a heavy piece of equipment. Like they don't even get the training that you get when you're getting your driver's license. And yet you're letting them drive around your warehouse with all of your precious products and investments, um,
yeah,
and you think if
driving
they
a
hit a
fifteen
column, they're
thousand
gonna,
pound machine with two
yeah.
thousand pounds on it.
I think if they hit a column, they're gonna run over and file a report. Nope, they're gonna go whoops and keep going, you know. So they have these sensors that you can put either on your forklifts or on your uprights, that as an impact detection sensor. Have you seen those?
I've heard of them on forklifts, not on the rack.
I like the one on the forklifts better personally. Obviously, people make a lot more money off of the ones on the uprights because you've got to put one on every
Every
upright.
single
I'm like,
one.
if I have 12 forklifts or 17,000 uprights, it
Yeah,
makes more sense for me to get 12 sensors than 17,000. And what it does is it kills the forklift, like right then. As soon as there's an impact, engine's dead until somebody comes over and takes the report. So that guy can get off and run if he wants, but we're gonna know that that at least you know where the damage occurred and you can actually take the time to document it properly.
yeah,
So the things like that, is also a good way to be proactive and protect your investments. But just even the training of your forklift team and the accountability. and teaching them proper reporting techniques like the see something, say something. If you see a damage in your warehouse, don't be scared that you're going to get in trouble. Report it, write it down. You don't have to say you did it, but at least tell somebody what you see.
Yeah. And we tell shift managers that to walk the floor every day and look for it because it doesn't, and you got to do it anyway. It's a good habit, but you're not just doing this for the racking. You go through, you can be looking, is there stretch film on the ground, broken pallets, whatever, you can be looking, and then looking at the rack. Because if there's something that's damaged, you're going to notice it. If you know if you're looking at the first horizontal and the bottom of the column, the base plate, you're going to see.
Yeah, if it's your warehouse and you take pride in it, that's true. There's one company that we do annual inspections for every year. We have probably since 2018. 2018, no damage. 2019, no damage. 2020, little bit of damage. 2021, more damage. Like they weren't fixing the things that we were putting in our reports. And we noticed that the guy who was signing off on these safety inspections had changed. Like we had the first few years was a great guy. Then they had somebody new in there, and you could tell that he either didn't care as much or he wasn't as well trained. But you could definitely see the decline in care and attention to detail and treating these things seriously and doing something about them and making sure that they were taken care of. So it's interesting to see, like that's why the annual inspection is important too, because that also can become part of that safety manager's performance review. If I was his boss, I'd want to know. I'd be like, hey, dude, we got 3 perfect scores on our inspections, and then we've got 2 that are getting worse and worse every year, and they have your name on them. So what are we going to do about this?
Yeah, it's absolutely accountability. And it's one of the hardest things that I found because any rack that's ever been hit, nobody ever did it.
Of course not. Yeah, it was like that already. It was like that when I got here.
Yeah. And so the reporting, and it is really important. And what I've noticed, the ones we've worked with, they do clean up because it's when they're taking care of it, the less issues happen. But they do, like now, instead of we're doing 5 uprights, we're doing like 1 or 2 at a time because they're reporting them 1 or 2 at a time, and then not as much of it's happening.
Yeah. And do you
So,
tell your customers this might be something you can add to your little list for your installers to do? Tell them that they need to tighten those anchor bolts every few months, that they need to check on them when they're doing their walkthrough. They loosen. There's a lot of movement on those racks. And just like, bolts, even like your chair or your table, like every once in a while, you have to go and retighten it a little bit, right? So just make sure those anchors are staying torqued, because if they're not, then they're not you're diminishing your capacity, you're diminishing the structural integrity, right?
yeah, this is my Roy Farrow moment. He showed me for like $30, you can get a torque
Wrench, yeah.
set it. It's like 40 pounds, for a half-inch anchor, and you can check them, and it's like $30. And he actually has fun with it. He looks, he's like got extension. He goes, look, I don't even have to bend down. I can do this smile, and he's like tick tick, and So we look for missing anchors, and if they're loose, it's hard. You can't visually check it. I mean, obviously, if it's up at the top of you can go, that one's loose.
It's really the bolt on the top that you need to tighten. The rest of the anchors should have been checked during anchor inspection, which happens during installation.
Yeah.
But that torque tool that Michael and that Roy use when they're going out to do anchor inspections, that's not to say that you can't do it yourself or that your customer can't do it themselves. Like again, like you said, it's an inexpensive investment to just go through. It doesn't have to be every day. Once a quarter, go through and tighten, and you go, oh, look at that, those were loose,
And in the process of doing that, you're basically inspecting it too, because if the horizontals damage or the columns damage or anything else like that, you're going to notice it. You're going to have to move pallets out of the way because a lot of times it's hidden. So we buy used systems. And a lot of times we buy it, it looks fine, but then you go to take it down and bundle up. You're like, wait a minute, 20% of these have been hit because there was a pallet there.
Yeah, yeah.
So the anchor tightening is a good way to make sure you're inspecting the whole
For sure.
thing. And one thing we didn't bring up, but I'm recommending my customers get engineering and signs. It's another thing we've been doing more sign work because you guys have a great program for doing signs. Because if you have the engineering and you have the signs, that's a lot of things. It's first going to look like a permitted system.
Exactly. That's really all you want. You want it like all the permitting part going through the city. There's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of red tape involved with it, a lot of money involved with it. I don't know that I agree with the permit processes. They take a long time. They cost a lot of money. It has to be done, of course. But if you're going to do anything, the engineering and the load signs are the way to go. The load signs are what make you code compliant. The 50 square inch is the minimum requirement of conspicuously placed load signs. You can go even further. We'd also do the load labels where they go per beam, assuming you have a variety of racking with a variety
Yeah.
of loads through your warehouse. That way you're not relying on the forklift driver who, again, has only been there for a few months, probably doesn't care that much about this job, probably listening to his AirPods and trying not to hit the racks. But if he looks and that shelf says 2,500 pounds per pallet, and this one says 3,000 pounds per pallet, that almost makes it foolproof, right? Like there's stickers on every level if you want them there, and we roll those out too if you find that you have a need for those.
Awesome. So share a little bit about your Vistage experience. It's something I looked into. It is part of I always think I'm the personal growth nerd or whatever you call it, and that's one of the reasons why we love each other so much, I guess. But a lot of people don't talk about it. But I met one of my friends, Kevin Eggert. I see him every year. He was in Vistage for a year. Now it's CLC. It's like Conscientious Leadership Circle or something. But he's like, oh yeah, I've always been involved in something. So share a little bit about Vistage. I looked into it. I didn't join.
So about a year ago, actually, yeah, a year ago when I was at the MHI roundtable last January, one of the ladies there was raving with another guy about this Vistage thing, about how integral it was to her and the growth of her business, and how, because she had also inherited her company from her dad. So we, second generation, often have like you've got this legacy you're trying to maintain. Two, you're trying to untangle a lot of the old school methods of doing business in order to be able to scale and bring it to this new level. Three, what I learned from myself, and I love my dad to death. He's always been my mentor, but my dad has never run a company with 75 employees. He's never run a company in 2025. He's never run a company with these tariffs and these things going on. So I don't want to say he's limited in what he can offer me, but I definitely can benefit from talking to other people who have scaled beyond where we are today that can help me get there. So now I go once a month and spend a day sitting in a room with 15 other people who have companies the same size as or bigger than mine. And I have this infinite wealth of resources. Like I can say, hey, we're having trouble getting our products in over from China. Like we have a customer that wants to send us stuff to be tested, some new racking materials, and it's getting stuck at customs. And they want us to sign a waiver saying that we take responsibility for it, like power of attorney to take responsibility for this stuff the minute it hits the shore. And we're like, we don't know what's in that crate. We don't want to take responsibility for it. And so then I asked them at the Vistage group and they said, oh yeah, I've got a customs broker, no problem. And so then all of a sudden, by the time I got home, I had 4 customs broker referrals in my inbox, and I was able to pass that along to my team. And they found one to work with that handles being the middleman for all of that. Or I said, hey, I'm not really thrilled with our 401k provider right now. And they said, oh, I've got one. Or I need a business attorney, or an employment attorney, or somebody that knows the labor laws. Like they've got resources for everything. It's like having Google for your business right in front of you, and you can actually, everybody has like an NDA in there with each other essentially. So I can go in like with my business financials and say, this is how we performed this quarter. This is where I want to be. What do you think that I need to do? And because you start to know each other on an intimate level and they come and like tour your facility and you tour theirs, you start to really be able to help each other out. And it becomes a business connection too. So one of my clients, like I said, the guy that had the damaged racking in his facility and had no idea. I have another one that had me go and tour her facility, and we're custom making a hoist for them to clean their tortilla making trays. And then she has another facility in San Bernardino where they want to move racks from one to the other. So even though the intention of it is not to generate business, it does by its own existence,
Yeah.
And they have so many free, and I say free because it's included with your membership. Your membership's not cheap. It's like $1,000 a month. But to me, the investment is worth it because you get a lot of resources. You get a website with all these webinars and all these links and things, and they send you newsletters and all of these things. You can be as involved as you want to be. I just went to one of their trade shows, one of their conferences, and it's free. included in your membership too, where you get to hear the speech on the economy and something on AI and something on cybersecurity and all the things that affect and impact all of our businesses. And it's there for your use, you know?
Yeah, I think as an owner, and we're a generational company too. And by the way, we don't have any of those things with the generation where the last generation left a bunch of quirky things that I've done over the years. Yeah, it like works for Mark Hiddleson, but doesn't work on anything else.
Yeah.
We don't have any of those. But having on a serious note, having if you don't have a boss, you have this network of bosses, right? That you can go and it's a master. I've heard mastermind. I've been in master. I hate the term mastermind, but when you have a group of people all working together like that, is like one bigger mind of all these people that you have access
We
to.
always have guest speakers in there, like that are coming in and talking about a book or like, guiding you through like the art of negotiation or how to when it's appropriate to outsource. And I thought that I was joining it, and I expressed to one, I said, I feel like I'm just taking so much, like that I'm just here to get and I have nothing to add. And one of the ladies was like, what are you talking about? She's like, you add so much, and she's like, and you're only been here for a year. You are going to end up being a mentor to so many people, like so many of the new Vistage people that come in. You have to start somewhere, but you already are a mentor. If you don't feel like it, you will soon, but you only feel this way because so many of the people in this room have been doing this for 20 more years than you know?
Yeah.
So it's a nice confidence booster in all of the things that I'm doing business wise. And you go and you get this reinforcement. You literally sit in a room with these people from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every month. Like you block off your whole day and you're just in there and they serve you breakfast and they serve you lunch and you have a host and you have a guest speaker and you've got a chair that also gives you an hour and a half of business therapy once a month. So you talk with them like this one-on-one once a month for an hour and a half about whatever issues are going on with your business, with your employees, with your finances, with your investments, with things that are keeping you up at night. And it just is like literally a therapist for business purposes.
Yeah, that's what the podcast is for me. I mean, that is kind of in that $1,000 a month range. Like I think I've always, since I've ever owned my own company, that's about the budget that we invest in something, whether it's individual coaching. I like a group. I've heard really good things about Vistage, but like the group, like you said, you get all this input. It's not just the chair. Everyone on the group is making a contribution to you. So
and they become your people. Like there are people that I can reach out to that will text you and say happy birthday, that will, if you're in their neighborhood, they'll be happy to take you to lunch or whatever, because we're all kind of within an hour of each other. But if I'm on the west side of LA, I know that I can call on a couple people to, go out to dinner with or whatever. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So two things: doctor appointment and meet with my Vistage chair to go, because I've been invited. There's actually a second one. It's somebody I really like.
Yeah.
I seriously will follow up on the Vistage. Thank you. So I want to ask one last question. I know you won an award. I wanted to talk about this. I mean, you won an award for women in business. I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago. I saw an announcement. So I know you're humble, but share what that was about and why it was cool. I know it has special meaning.
Well, so I don't know why I don't know why I did. I mean, again, it's one of those things where I always feel like smaller than I am, I guess. And I know it probably doesn't sound like it from the how loud I am and everything like that, but I'm always like not as confident as I could be or should be in my abilities and what I bring. That's starting to shift now. I'm starting to force myself out of my comfort zone and put myself out there. And so when someone calls me and says, hey, we want to interview you. Hey, we want to feature you. Hey, we want to honor you. Hey, we want you to speak in front of this room full of people. I'm just saying yes. Remember that Jim Carrey movie, Yes Man? Like I am yes woman. And I just say yes to all of it because I feel like it's going to help me grow. And I feel like it's going to bring something to people. It's going to help somebody. And if it doesn't, it's helping me. But hopefully it helps at least one person in some way or another, find something that they need, whether it's learning about the Vistage group or whether it's, reading a book or taking a walk or, not being mad at themselves if they skip weights one day and decide to, to listen to their body and rest, whatever it is. Like there's always something that I can teach. And I think recognizing that has been a nice feeling, because I always just thought I was the learner and again the taker. Never really thought I was giving as much back as I was taking, and I think that that's shifting for me now, and I'm starting to embrace my role as mentor because I'm getting too old to be a mentee.
Yeah, I love both. I'm the same way. I'm a little bit older than you, but yeah, and I wanted, you were one of the first, like you were at the top of the list. You were one of the people. Well, you were one of the first interviews. I'm like, for sure, I'm gonna have. But I guess we've grown up so much together. We're close friends. We've seen a lot of how we can add value. But yeah, I always thought of you as a rock star, and never saw. And I know you personally. I haven't seen the but I think I'm kind of the same. I think it's natural to have like self-doubt, or that's one of the hardest things about is writing a book, and it's just about to be published, that I've been working on for a long time.
Yeah.
Is being in your head. And then if you're in your head, and that's the thing I love about training and strength training, is I learned as a young athlete, like if I practice something enough, I can get really good at it. And that's kind of fun for me to learn new things, like podcasts. I kind of sucked at it. It's like
I'd really love to go back and watch our first one and and then watch this one and see how we've grown too, both in the way we talk and the way we talk about business and the way that the podcast flowed. I feel like we had some growth there too.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun, and thank you for being vulnerable too, because I think you have that feeling. I mean, to me, you've been a rock star for all 26 years. Just now you are feeling that. And you really don't have to be a rock. I mean, I learned so much from everybody. That's like my big takeaway of being 55 too, and realizing, like, for me, the biggest thing is like, wow, I have so much more to learn now, right? It's not about, hey, I arrived, or I know it all. It's just like, wow, this is, I need to go get a doctor appointment and get on a Vistage group. So you have been awesome. Round two is so good. Thank you so much, Nancy. You're a great business partner, great friend, great podcast. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Tao of Pizza podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.